Hello and welcome to the Sensual Being podcast with myself, your host, Jolene Whiting. I have been a pole dance teacher for nearly 20 years. I'm also a yoga instructor, and my favourite pastimes are connecting to my own sensuality, connecting with the world, and connecting with animals as well. In this podcast, you'll find new and inventive ways of how you see yourself, connecting yourself with others, and also how you see and view the world around you. In this episode, we shall be tapping in to our own self-worth and inner power, and how that relates to our relationships with ourselves, with lovers, and in the kink world. Please do be warned that towards the end of this episode, we should be diving quite deep into how this can actually go wrong within the kink world as well. Hello, sensual being, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for honouring me with your time today. I feel very privileged to have this time one-on-one with you right now. I hope you are doing well in whatever you're doing right now. And I'd really like to talk to you about self-worth and also how this links in with our relationships, particularly our lovers, and particularly if we indulge in kink as well. So with this, we're tapping into self-worth. You might already be thinking, oh, it feels a bit icky. I don't want to talk about this. You might be somebody like, I saw a little video yesterday on Instagram, and it was just one person doing the video, just sort of a little bit of a piss take. And she was doing the video, and one part of her was going, yeah, sending love out to her friend. Yeah, love yourself. Yeah, don't you forget. Yeah, love yourself. And then the friend, who was also her, just turned around and said, yeah, don't forget you do it too. Love yourself. And she's like, oh, what, me? No. Oh, gosh, no. Oh, ugh, no way. So when we talk about things like this, it's so easy for us to project out, but it can be incredibly hard to receive this back in. And why? Why is it so hard? There are so many reasons. We've been so conditioned, not to love. Oh, she loves herself, she's full of herself, or she's so vain, or he, it's been so heavily conditioned into us. But what I'm really pleased about with all of this is that we haven't lost the ability to send the love out. But I want to make it my life's mission to bring that love back home from yourself to yourself, because you deserve it. You do deserve it. You really do. And I'm just hoping that maybe today's conversation will help bring some of the feelings of self-worth back to you, or more, because we can always have more. It's never ending. Don't think I've got enough. That would do. No. We always need to keep refilling our own cup, because there'll be times when we get drained and we need to stock back up again. It's constant. This isn't done. This is never done. So tapping in to our own gratitude is trying to appreciate the moment that we are in right now. So just to start off with, you don't need to close your eyes, particularly if you're driving, but if you are in a safe position to do so and you want to close your eyes if you're not driving or not doing anything dangerous or anything, then I urge you right now, just take a moment, feel your body's connection to either the ground or wherever you're laying on or sitting on. And just bring your focus to your breathing. Not trying to change the breath, but just trying to follow the cycle of a full inhale and a full exhale. And by doing this, we slow down. By doing this, we connect in. And this moment right now is just for you. Take one more nice deep breath. Let it go, breathe out. And feel free to open your eyes if you'd close them. Just bring your way back into the room, into your body again. So, that didn't take long, did it? This sort of thing does not have to take very long. Sometimes it can just be stopping and taking a deep breath. Yeah. So, when this happens, when we do that, when we just did that, we just were in the pocket of time in this moment. Yeah. So by doing so, that is when you can start to appreciate the things that you have around you, the people you have around you, the roof over your head, the food on your plate, the children that you have, the pets that you have, the job that you have. And even if you don't like your job, does it pay you money? Therefore, we can appreciate that. Yes. So there is always something to be grateful for. So there was an interesting moment that my mum told me about a couple of days ago. So I've been putting my podcast up on YouTube now. Finally, it's only I've been doing it 6 months over that, and I've just started doing it. So they're going up slowly. So my mum watches YouTube through her TV. So there was my face and the big screen. And she was looking at me and she said, I just had this moment of so coming from her, she said, I had this moment that I realised that all this work, everything that I do is because of her, because she and my dad created me. And she was just overwhelmed, a real good overwhelm, by the way, but she was overcome with so much joy, so much love, and so much gratitude for what she had done, and also the power that she had. Because you can't tell me that creating the human life is not powerful. It's powerful. But we are so taught to dumb it down. For a start, if you're a new mother and you go back to work, you're deemed as a bad mother for not spending enough time with the kids. And if you don't go back to work, well, you're not pulling your weight, are you? That is society, and it's rubbish. That is all rubbish. So we really are taught, if you're a parent, it's sort of it doesn't, whatever. But if you are a parent, I think deep down it's one of the most important jobs in the world. It doesn't get any more important and powerful. By doing this and connecting in, you realize how powerful you actually are. And I had a moment as well over Christmas time, just after Christmas. I had somebody come to me and she said that they listened to the podcast episode on the Christmas gratitude. And at the table, the family were talking about what the gifts that they got for Christmas and things like that. And she turned the conversation around and she said they spent 2 hours talking about the things that they were grateful for. And I was like, oh my God, I came home, I was in tears, because I was just like, wow, I was overcome with so much joy, and realizing that, whoa, that's powerful. My God, my little podcast had that effect on her, and then she shared it with her family. Can you imagine now if that family grows up and they always remember, oh, well, at the Christmas table, we've always done this for years, and there's a ripple effect to this, to realizing your own inner power is incredibly powerful. And again, power has been taught to us as being a bad thing. Powerful, greedy, it's all linked in with things like that. But actually, what we don't realize is our own inner power. And I want us all to reclaim that back and to realize that we are worthy of it, because we are it. We just need to realize that. It's as simple as that. It really is. And how this can be carried across in relationships. So if you are somebody who gets into a relationship and then just bends over backwards, whatever, of course I'll do that for you, dear. Of course I'll do that. Yes. Of course, I'll cancel my plans to go out with your plans and your friends and doing this and doing that. We honestly live in a society that is full of these types of relationships. And whilst I'm kind of coming at it from a woman's point of view, it's 50-50. Men are like this too. Not all the time. I mean, it's a stereotypical thing for the woman to kind of give up her friends, her life, her identity for the sake of a man. But when you grow up with programs, films like The Little Mermaid, who gave up her family, half of her body, and at one point her voice, all for a guy that just gave her a nice smile, pretty much. And you think, oh my God, that's my conditioning. That's what I've grown up with. That's why I'm like I am. Oh my God, I've done this. I've been there. I've been this sort of person who would just give up all my stuff. And I can still feel it in me sometimes with the decisions I make. And I'm very lucky that my partner and very much recent partners have never really asked that sort of thing from me. But I'm still very easily to give that power away and to sacrifice my own life. Oh yeah, okay, we'll go there. We'll do this, we'll do that. And I have to be very careful to keep myself in check because my partner now, he's not asking anything more of me at all. But I can feel that pattern is inside me. And when I look back at how I grew up with the things that I watched, and to be honest, you've seen my picture. I've got bright red hair. To be honest, I still love Ariel, the Little Mermaid. But I haven't watched any TV since I got rid of my TV. When I stopped watching TV, May 2022. Oh my God, we're coming up to 2 years. So I won't watch it now, but it's still heavily ingrained into me because, I thought, oh yeah, she's cute. I want to be like her, and I'm not very good at swimming. But, I had the hair, and I still go and get it dyed every month. And you got to wonder that conditioning is deep. It's deep into us, how we were brought up, what we watched, and how it affected us growing up. And when we take this into not only just our relationships with our friends and with our lovers, but also if you indulge in kink, there's a lot of power play and power exchange. So dominant, submissive, top, bottom, all these types of relationships, all these types of dynamics within kink. Now, not all kink has power play. Okay, so, that I'm not saying it all has, but the bits that do are the bits that worry me the most because I've always been kinky for as long as I can remember. And when we bring this type of self-worth into a kink relationship, which has got a power dynamic going on, we need to be very careful because we know in the vanilla world that there are narcissistic, manipulative people out there, men and women. Yeah. They walk among us. They try to pretend and blend in like they're normal people. And we know you're out there. We just don't know sometimes which ones you are. Sometimes they can be in a real pretty package and you don't realize how much of a narcissistic, manipulative person that they actually are. Okay? But when we go into kink, these people are also there. The good thing about kink that I have found, I've had situations I've had to be careful, but when we go into the kink world, a lot of the time there's this big focus on communication, talking, trust, yeah. And even if we indulge in all of that, you still got to be careful because, like I said, if you're someone who just bends over backwards, and quite literally bends over backwards in this case, and just gives all your power away, you could get walked over by the wrong person. But you might also get manipulated. Can't say that right now. manipulated into thinking that it is love and that they do care for you. And the worry with this is that you are literally opening yourself up to abuse. Now, when you play with the power dynamic, and if there's any sort of impact play, like spanking or whips and things like that, I don't believe that's abuse if it's completely, and I say completely, and I'll explain that in a minute, completely consensual. Because when I say completely, I mean that you have done the inner work and you're coming at this from literally a kink point of view and not some deep rooted trauma that you've been through. I mean, I talked to you about the Little Mermaid, yeah? I'm talking to you about young ages. And yet we can actually carry that feeling of self-worth or worthlessness throughout our relationships and into the kink world. And we have to be very careful. And I'm not saying that just as if you are submissive. If you're submissive, you are putting yourself in that position. But also the position of a dominant, are they being put in the position of an abuser? It's so hard to know. And the reason why this is very passionate to me is because some people are actually unaware of themselves. That is the scary bit. So some people are completely unaware, therefore they go into these relationships and these power dynamics and the power play, and it can go too far. And sometimes they don't realize what is too far because they have not done the inner work. It can be, not all, but it even can be a form of self-harm because you're putting yourself in that position. So you've got to be very careful to know that you are actually acting on your own best intentions for your heart, your own heart, no matter which side of it you come at it from. You've just got to be so careful. So just take moments, and it sounds so simple. I've talked about something quite extreme there. That's very extreme. But what we've got to remember is that some of this stuff doesn't actually have to be that hard, because sometimes we can just take a moment like we did earlier, and we just stopped, we take a couple of deep breaths, and we checked into that moment, into ourselves. And it's interesting because you might be somebody who's meditated, who's done things like that, stopped and taken some deep breaths. But do you realize there might be some other people listening right now that have never, ever, and I mean ever, slowed down and taken a deep breath? Never. And that is very scary. And if you are somebody who has never slowed down and done that before, then I want to congratulate you, because this is the start. Do it more. Do it more, because you're connecting to the moment, you're connecting to yourself, and you'll be able to actually slow down and enjoy what is happening around you, because it is all connected. And the more that we can stay in the present moment and not live in the past, worry about the future, then the more grounded in ourselves we will be. But if we keep on filling our lives with distractions, deadlines, TV, routine all the time, we will actually close ourselves off to our own inner magic and our own inner power. And we won't be able to tap in. But I promise you, even if you've got this far and you're feeling a bit ick about all the self-worth talk before, and you've got this far and you're thinking, oh, it's still hard, Jolene, it's still hard, I'm not on board with self-worth. Really ask yourself why, because you deserve it. You deserve it from yourself. Don't just rely on other people to give this to you. Fill up your own cup and give it to yourself. Okay, that sounded slightly more ruder than I was expecting. But yeah, fill up your own cup and give it to yourself. So I really hope that you've taken some juicy nuggets from that, because it's a very sensitive topic, but it's one that, again, I feel gets overlooked, and we just distract ourselves instead of actually looking at what's actually going on. But anyway, I really hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and remember, as always, to lead through your life with your heart and to live with intention. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it with your friends and on social media. If you have the time to rate or review this podcast, I'd be ever so grateful. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Jolene Sensual Being. The links to my YouTube and to sign up to my mailing list will be in the show notes as well. I look forward to speaking with you again very soon.